Every time. Welcome
And
in,
he's
everybody,
muted.
to another MLS Monday by Scarves and Spikes. Tyler, Henry, and Sydney here for
What's going on, gentlemen?
match day one. It's complete.
Match day
It's in the books.
one in
We made
the
it.
books.
Did y'all feel like y'all's weekend was as long as mine?
It was pretty long. I felt pretty long, especially with on Saturday. There's a lot going on. Our live show, of course, at the Signia by Hilton Hotel. Thanks for everybody who showed up again. Then, of course, the match afterwards, and then Sunday night soccer. We'll talk about that, obviously, on this episode. San Diego being the Galaxy. How about you, Henry? How did you
I was
feel?
gonna say my weekend really it was like Saturday wasn't enough for me in terms of just the experience. Like, well, I love being at the tailgate and seeing the people, and I wanted more, and I wanted more of the game. I just want to see this team play again,
Yeah. You'll get your chance on Saturday.
Yeah,
against Charlotte FC. LA United.
I'm just excited that soccer's back, that MLS is back, and we've got back-to-back action now. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. It just feels good to be back at it again. And then the weather here in Atlanta right now is beautiful. It's nice.
Gorgeous.
Past the cold, at least temporarily. So, got a busy show for you guys today. We have in our nifty new graphic over here that Sydney has made, take you through the whole kind of agenda, and I'm sure we'll talk about a few other things in there. But we also have Daniel Solana from the Battered Network down in Miami will be joining us to give his thoughts on the Miami match versus New York. That it got held to the very end. Yeah, lots of controversy, lots of frustration, lots of stuff to talk about. So we'll dive right into it. But first, scarvesandspikes.com. Y'all go visit it. We have obviously tons of articles coming out. You guys have helped push that website to astronomical numbers, which is just, it helps us out. You have no idea. But it makes us happy too, because it's hard work and we love it. And it makes us happy to see people, consuming it in the way that y'all do. So thank y'all so much. And then patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. That's where we have a lot of our conversations, our chats. We have fun in there. We talk soccer. We talk lots of other stuff. We play Call of Duty. We play Rocket League. We play whatever. We play all kinds of stuff. We're just having a good time. We have Fantasy League in there as well. So thank you guys so much. And 2025 soccer's here.
It's here. It's live.
Should we mention our new partners?
Weird. Yes, indeed. I was there we go.
Sweetwater Brewery.
Thank you to Sweetwater Brewery. I bust out the can too. It's their new beer, by the way.
What are you drinking?
Day Trip IPA. It's really good.
Nice.
But yeah, shout out to Sweetwater Brewery. Obviously, a long-time Atlanta organization. I was going to use another word, but I mean, one of the biggest independent breweries, right? And spread their reach is far and wide. But at the end of the day, they make really good beer. They have a really fun atmosphere, and we just appreciate the partnership. It's going to be great. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff this year.
Absolutely. Shall we get into it, guys?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Jinx.
You owe me a beer because you're old enough now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mentioned Sunday night soccer, San Diego, LA Galaxy, and what do you know? San Diego upsetting the defending champions at Dignity Health Sports Park under Stryer the brace. Did you guys expect it?
I did.
Maybe.
This was my, and we'll do these at the end of the show as well. But this was my must watch, my key match, right?
Sure.
This is the one I really wanted to see, because it's always interesting to see how the new guys are going to fare. And I think 3 months ago, we would have been having a different conversation about these two teams coming together, because without Ricky Pooch, the Galaxy still won a MLS Cup. But then you lose a handful of other guys to injury, trade, everything else. And they are a shell right now of what they were even in MLS Cup last year. This was always going to be a tough ask, but they were at home, right? Like, they didn't lose a game there last year. And they came out and they didn't look good. They did not look good.
No, not at all.
He struggled to get things going. The opportunities that did have were wasteful, and at the end of the day, they just got punished by silly mistakes, trying to play out of the back, being a little too cute, and San Diego wins their very first MLS game.
But LA misses. I mean, this is not groundbreaking analysis or anything, but they miss Pooch. They miss Paintsel on that wing.
They miss Joveljic.
Joveljic, yeah, that guy. They just miss a lot of that, and ironically, it's not the reason why they lost, right? Just really, the first goal, a real tough ball delivered by the goalkeeper for the Galaxy. By the way, do you guys know the drill with John McCarthy? John McCarthy didn't start. Their starting keeper to help them win MLS Cup in 2024 on the bench. Do you guys know anything about that? Did you hear anything? Did you get an inkling of that before in the lead up to the match that he wouldn't play or start? That is.
Henry, did you hear anything? I didn't hear anything.
I mean, I just know that I think Mikovic is the goalkeeper's name. He was a new signing this offseason, and I think they rate him very highly. But I think it's weird that McCarty's getting like the same. He's getting the same treatment that he got at LAFC, where they won MLS Cup. He was in the shootout. He was the hero, and then the next season he's on the bench. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see him move potentially if he stays there. Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand why they would need to change the keeper situation up. I never thought that was a problem for them, but I guess they decided that it was because they went and got a keeper to take the spot off.
I'll say, and Omar saying, according to Greg Vanny, it was a coach's decision. I guess my thing is this, really quick, in the city. I definitely want to hear your thoughts, but this might be common sense, or this might be some groundbreaking new thing. I don't know. But I believe when you win an MLS Cup, you should do everything you can to not change that squad going into the first game.
Yeah, a team that wins, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And like Donnell is saying right now, it's like the LA coach said Mikovic was the future of the club. Okay, well, right now, like let's take Atlanta for example. Jaden Hibber is the future for the club at the goalkeeper position.
Yeah, but
that doesn't mean that you're going to put him over Brad Guzan.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like unless McCarty had like some stupid fall off in the offseason for some weird reason, like I would still see no reason to change him right now. I would assume he keeps the spot until he loses it. Kind of like we were with Guzan kind of last year when Josh Cohen came in. Like, okay, he keeps the spot until he loses it. And he just never lost it. He just kept it for the whole season, and now he's still the starting goalkeeper. But that's a weird decision, in my opinion.
It'd be interesting to hear what the narrative is around that, and maybe McCarthy gets back in. Maybe Henry, like you said, he gets traded a little bit later on before the transfer window closes. But from a wider lens view, we talked about the Galaxy before. I think last week, the injuries, of course, Joveljic being moved. These are factors that are going to be tough for them to overcome, at least initially. And of course, they have Champions Cup, which pretty much, I said it myself, I don't have any illusions of them going far in Champions Cup. I really don't. I feel like this is a team that could make a move in the summer transfer window to improve their team, especially at striker. I think Christian Ramirez is the ultimate choice at striker. He is a choice, but not the ultimate choice. Certainly no Dejan Joveljic by any stretch of the imagination. But you have to look at, is this a sign of things to come really for them? You just came into your house celebrating MLS Cup last season, and then get played off the pitch, but you give up a really cheap goal. And the second one, you just get beat on the break. So shout out to San Diego FC for their win. But Galaxy have to ask major questions. And now, what do we expect of San Diego FC? What do we make of them? Is this just like a blip on the radar screen, or could this team be maybe competitive in the Western Conference? Maybe they have Chico Lozano. They have some other players that they've brought in. Of course, their DPs, Luca Del Torre, who looked really good. That's national team player. Could this be a team that could turn some heads in the Western Conference? This
Yeah.
certainly is a strong statement to start out. Surely.
Yeah. I think you're going to have consistency. That's the biggest thing. That's the mark of a good team, right? But when you look at the way that they played, I thought they were pretty well disciplined. I mean, they made some mistakes as well, but
Yeah.
Galaxy just last night was the worst team on the day by far. And I mean, but their stats do pretty well. I mean, it was almost 50-50 possession. It was 52 in favor of San Diego, so slightly. But their passing accuracy, both 87. Besides that, though, 9 shots to 7, 6 on target for San Diego and 3 for Galaxy. So it was not like statistically a blowout either way. But then you
Right.
look at the eye test, and I don't know. Somebody said it back in the chat. Maybe T-Pay. Yeah, 2-0 didn't tell the whole story. It felt like San Diego absolutely could have had
better
more.
team puts the Galaxy to the sword. Certainly, I
Oh, for
think.
sure. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, it kind of reminded me. Remember when St. Louis came into the league a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
everybody joked around because it was like, why does everybody keep passing the ball back to their attackers? And last night, it wasn't so much that, but it was like you're making dumb mistakes trying to play out of the back, and you're getting punished on it. And you have to punish a team that does that. And San Diego did it. So kudos to them. Yeah, De La Torre, I thought had a really good game. But they're gonna be riding a high for sure.
Yeah, I mean, huge credit to San Diego. They came out in an away game to, LA Galaxy, who, by the way, last year never lost a game at Dignity Health Sports Park. And this season, they've just been handed their first loss by the new guys. And I think there might have been a certain element of kind of arrogance in LA Galaxy of, like, we're the champions, like, these are the new guys, like, whatever. Apart from the absences and such, but I think they kind of underestimated them, and they were playing a little nonchalant, and that's where San Diego was able to press a little bit and was able to force the turnover for that first goal. There's a lot of credit there you got to give to Chucky Lozano, who got the assist on that goal, who was the one that picked the ball off and made the assist to Dreyer for that first goal. And he was super active throughout the game. He was, constantly a threat. He was making a lot of really, really good moves happen for San Diego. That's what you expect out of your star, which they paid like $12 million for. So good on him. And no, I mean, San Diego put some eye-catching sequences together. So they are a team to watch. And I can't wait to see what else they can do and how they do at their home opener. Also, by the way, shout out to their fans, because I saw some of the videos. They were bringing the energy, and you love to see that.
Lots of them too.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them. Yeah, Snapdragon Stadium, down there in San Diego against St. Louis City. Coincidentally, we just talked about them just a second ago. So obviously, they have the momentum now. Get to go home and play the near club in MLS in their 3rd season. So under a new head coach as well, St. Louis City. So interested to see how that shakes out. But again, congrats to San Diego FC, 1-0 in their inaugural season. So that's the Sunday night soccer game. I mean, a good game. Not full of action, but a good game. Of course, again, San Diego. Congrats to them.
For sure. Well, so that was the Sunday night soccer marquee match, right? And by the way, I don't want to get on a sidebar about it, but I thought they did a really good job with the Sunday night soccer thing. I think that'll be a really cool thing going forward. But one that shocked me, absolutely shocked me, and also destroyed my freaking fantasy was the Philadelphia Union against Orlando.
Yeah.
4-2. What happened?
High Bearable happened. Mikael Ula happened. Daniel Gastag happened. I mean, these are players, especially Ula and Gastag, that you're looking for if you're Philly under Brandon Carnella's first season to help you get back among the MLS elite. And to Philly's credit, right, they bounced back. They showed great resilience to come back from an early goal down. Pasalic, who had a brace in his MLS debut, guy like Latte Lot did for Atlanta. Son had 2 goals within the first 10 minutes. He just barely missed in the first minute. Popovich did, but ultimately he did score, and Orlando goes down 1-0 or goes up 1-0. Philly comes back, Baraboo ties it, and then they end up taking the lead and just pouring it on in the second half. Philly, of course, under a new head coach, Bradley Carnell, we joke a lot about them. They didn't do a ton in the off season. I mean, they brought in some pieces certainly in the off season, but not like a ton of pieces, right? So a lot of questions going to be asked about Finn. Can they get back into the playoff picture after missing the playoffs for the first time in a while under what turned out to be Jim Curtin's final season as head coach? What can Bradley Carnell do? And it's a great first start for Philly in a hostile environment. We joke a lot about the Orlando fans, how they could be maybe a little bit insufferable at times, or maybe a lot insufferable depending on who you are. So, good first start. And of course, you're going to be looking at players, as I said, who Gastag, Quinn Sullivan, who had an assist, Andre Blake, certainly one of the veteran goalkeepers in MLS, a longtime Union player, to hopefully get this team back to where they need to be. Tyler, who was on your fantasy team that really screwed things up for you, I guess?
Everybody.
Was it everybody? Name one player.
I went into that match. Here, I'll pull it up. But I went into that match and I thought Philly, just going from what we've talked about and predictions and everything on this show and just in conversation, I pretty much thought Philly, anybody playing against them, especially in the first part of the season, if you could get, a decent midfielder, a defender, even, like, you would be pretty well off as far as points on your fantasy team, because I just didn't think they were going to do anything, especially not score 4 goals.
They brought Lukacin, Jovan Lukacin from Serbia. There's a big signing. Damiani, they brought in from Uruguay, but that was their big signing, Damiani. And then, of course, they brought in Glavinovic, I think it is, from Newell's in Argentina. So they're sort of the core signings. And of course, the guys I mentioned already who are still here. So this is going to be an interesting experiment for Philadelphia under Bradley Carnell. Can he get the most out of these players? Can he get them to gel? Is my big question.
And how long will it take for Orlando to figure things out this season? Because they had a slow start to their season last year also.
Like they always do.
So, Oscar Pareja, he's got to figure things out, because I think we were also raising some doubts on him in this show before, whether, he does stay in that role throughout the season or, what happens there. Because there was some parts of that game that was just shocking to me. I think it was like the third goal where it was basically just like Orlando just like showing how not to play out of the back. That was embarrassing. And then it was just terrible defending. I mean, if we complained about Atlanta's defending, like, that was just a whole nother level of.
Wilder Cartagena was just a shocking giveaway that led to, I think it was Gastag's goal. Not Cartagena. I'm sorry, not Cartagena. Rodrigo Schlegel. Yeah. Schlegel had a really bad touch in front of the box, and with a really good goal outside the box to make it 3-1, essentially ice the match. So I don't know why I said Cartagena. I knew it.
You asked me.
My mistake.
You asked me one of the players, right? I thought, hey, I'm going to put in a defender from Orlando, because Philly shouldn't really be able to do much.
Orlando.
Thor Halson. -1 point.
-1.
Negative. I lost.
Did you at least win your head-to-head?
Dagger Don.
Did you at least win your head-to-head?
No, that was actually a really good match between me and Sean. I lost it by like 11 points.
Dang.
So, but like the fact that one of my defenders dropped a point for me because of that match between Philly and Orlando, it irks me. He got subbed out in the 56th minute.
That's what you know it's bad. That's what you know it's bad.
Yeah. Just a bad day for Orlando. That's a rough time for sure.
I took Martin Ojeda in my fantasy team, and I was happy with the 10 points that he put up. So
must be nice.
Yeah,
must be nice.
Nice flex. Very nice flex. But Orlando played Toronto in match day 2. feel like they should win that match. I mean, Toronto, considered by some to be a wooden spoon contender.
Well, we said the same about Philadelphia, didn't we?
Yep.
Well, we've been wrong before.
Jason said, "Never put your faith in the whole hand down." You're
Right.
not wrong. That was my first mistake.
Speaking in faith, the Caps. How about them Caps on the road? That was a terrible transition, but can we just roll with it?
Good enough.
It was a good try. Gotta let you.
Who else had a big win on the road? The Vancouver Whitecaps. I said the Vancouver Capitals.
They chopped down the Timbers.
Also had a big win on the road. So hold on.
Don't try to lay claim to that one. I put that over there.
Hang on a second,
Henry.
We got to get the elephant. We got to address the elephant in the room. First off, Kamal Miller sent off inside of 10 minutes. Wasn't the red card. I'll let you guys speak to it, and then I'll give my opinion. Tyler, was it a red card? Henry said yes. Tyler, was it a red card?
I think so.
I disagree. Brian White sells the contact 100%.
But there's contact.
There's contact, yes, but
I think
he feels the contact, it just goes down. And at the very least, if the referee show a yellow card, I don't think that's denial of a goal scoring opportunity. To me, it's not.
Yes, it is, Sydney. He's the last guy. If Kamal Miller does not bring him down, he has a chance to score.
He kind of struggles.
He's very clearly in on goal.
He kind of struggles with the ball, though, doesn't he? Miller? I mean, not Miller White.
This is a perfect example of.
I think it's kind of harsh. I don't know.
I do kind of agree with that. But I think by the letter of the law, yes, it is. But I also think we've seen much lighter infractions called and much heavier stuff not called.
For
sure. But I think it's hard. Like, I don't think you can go back and try to fight that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think you can challenge that if you're the front office. I don't think you waste time doing it. But
no,
I do understand where fans are a little irritated about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little bit harsh to me. Maybe it's me. I don't know. You guys apparently feel it's a red card. I don't know, man. I just don't. I feel like another referee kind of lets it go maybe a little bit. Kind of gives Kamal Miller the benefit of the doubt. But just to me, I think that was a flop by Brian White. So ultimately, Kamal Miller sent off, and that just changes the match as Vancouver puts up 4 against Portland. Jaden Nelson with 3 assists, a goal and 3 assists. What a performance for him, for the Canadian international winger. A goal involved in every single goal that Vancouver scores on the night. So they're after a flying start. The Timbers, who got humiliated in the playoffs by, wasn't it the same team last year in the wild card?
Yes.
Here we go again with Portland just laying an egg against Vancouver, trying to chase away the ghost of postseasons past, and then just seeing Kamal Miller sent off in the 11th minute, and then getting blown out 4-1 from the at least. Well, I was gonna say at least Portland didn't get blown out at home, but they did last year, the postseason, in the match that was supposed to be played in Vancouver, but was unable to be played in Vancouver, so it was put in Portland. But Vancouver is still the home team in that match.
Yeah.
So that's not confusing at all, I'm sure.
Not at all. Not at all.
Anyway.
You didn't do any word gymnastics there at all. No, I mean, I think it was one of those where the storyline that came out of it really it became about the red card, and I do hate that. Whether it was right or not, I hate when a game becomes about a player getting sent off. Like,
and the fact that it was so early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it's one thing to do it in the 70th, 80th minute. Let them play. Like, that's one thing I'll definitely say about the Atlanta game this weekend. He let him play. There was definitely contact that probably should have been called both ways. But be consistent. That's my biggest thing. Y'all know this. That's my pet peeve. But speaking of red cards,
here we go.
This is my transition. Speaking of red cards, because we have somebody that really, really, really wants to talk about one and has things to say. And that is Daniel Solana. What's going on, man?
How's it
Daniel,
going, fellas? Everything going
how are
well?
you?
Yeah.
Welcome in, man.
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm recuperating from a Saturday of yelling at the referee, and I know Tommy is going to be watching, or if he's tuning in right now. He's a big fan of the glasses, and I'm wearing the glasses that maybe the center referee should have been wearing, because personally, look, and I know I've been bashed by a few folks on social media about this, but personally, I've looked at the instant replay in slow motion a million times by now, and I still don't see a foul.
So,
I just don't see it.
so let me say this. Let me ask you this, okay? By the way, for those listening on the podcast, Daniel is wearing a red shirt, and I think it's a red hat. Was that on purpose, or?
No. I'm representing my club, Nacional, Club Nacional
Oh,
de Fútbol.
Nacional.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and the red just kind of went with it. So I'll be changing into something else when I join the Battered Herons later on tonight.
There you go.
So let me say this. I agree with you. I think that's a really harsh call on Toto Aviles. I really do. Just looking back, and like you, I was looking at the replay just in slow motion, super slow motion, to see if I can spot anything in there that could lead to a legitimate red card challenge. And I don't see it. I really don't. Uh, Tyler Henry, I don't know. I think you guys think it was justified. The red card was justified.
I do, and I'll tell you why. Again, and I'll caveat. I'll be the first one to admit, like the other one, I think it's very soft. I think it could go either way, but I think it to me, it's the shirt pull. I think people have kind of gotten caught up on like the tackle, and the tackle, like, I mean, technically got the ball.
The tackle is beautiful to me.
Huh?
The tackle is beautiful to me. He gets the ball entirely.
Me,
if it's just the feet, like no.
I'm not mad at the tackle. I think really what it is you have a shirt pull, and I think anywhere else on the pitch, if a ref is feeling feisty that day, he's going to give somebody a yellow card because you can't, alter the attack. You can't pull on somebody's shirt, whatever. And I think he did himself dirty because he did it right in front of the ref. And I think you can get away with that 9 times out of 10. But I think, again, by the letter of the law, you're looking at a red card. And then, of course, it's a red card because it's a dog. So, and, you have defender on both sides. But at the end of the day, the only straight line defender between him and the goal is the goalkeeper. And again, by the definition, that's a dog. So I'll give you, look, it was soft, but I know you
are talking about definitions, and I understand that. And I know somebody sent me the laws of the game. I understand that. I've played, I've refereed, I've coached, I've done everything that you can do, in the game to be, involved in the game. So I understand, but the referee has to have a little bit of character in that situation and understand the moment where the player just scored a goal. Maybe he's a little bit over anxious, understand the moment of the game. It's only 20 minutes into the game. He could have just given the player a yellow card. Like, you have to have a little bit more character and not be a by the book referee. I'm sorry. You just have to understand the moment of the game. And going back to that, the referee had a chance to make up for it with that second yellow card that he should have shown the NYCFC player on that foul to Suarez at the end of the first half, and he didn't. So he showed his cards. He just didn't show it at the time and to the right players that he needed to show them to.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. Do you think it should have just been a yellow, or do you think it shouldn't have been a foul at all?
If he was gonna call foul, then to me it should have been a yellow card. And I understand the rule of the game says it's got to be a red, but again, you can justify it a million different ways. We can critically analyze it a million different ways. We can talk about it for an hour if you wanted to, but I know we don't have enough time. At the end of the day, it's got to go. The referee has to take responsibility for that action. The VAR has to take responsibility for that. And to me, he completely hosed that call. And I think he just wanted to be the protagonist of the game. And that's exactly what he did. He made an impact on the game. And unfortunately, if it wasn't for that, Inter Miami would have won 3-4, 5-0 because it was going to be an absolute blowout.
Well, they did come back and level the match. Deep in the toughest time to left because of Govia, their new signing out of Venezuela, leveling the match, and Inter Miami getting out with a point and Javier Mascherano's first match as head coach. Overall, when you look at the balance of the match, when you take away the red card to Aviles, when you take away some of the controversy around the match, how do you feel that Miami did in their first match under Mascherano?
Overall, I mean, I think they played decent considering they played a man down for a good portion of the game, and they dominated. When you look back at the stats of the game, they dominated in possession, they dominated in passes made, and as well as if I'm not mistaken, in shots taken at goal. So they dominated the game. Now I also look at some of the downsides where you had Fafa Pico go down with an injury. He's going to be out probably to the end of March. You had Chelo Wigant go out at halftime also, which looked like he was favoring his left leg. Another important injury. And then at one point, you look like Ian Frey had gone down with an injury as well. And that's scary because now you're down to no right backs, or you're down to just Gonzalo Lujan. So look, overall, I think the team on the field played well. It would have helped had they played 11 on 11 or 10 on 10 like it should have been. But I take the point as a positive, but overall game as a negative, because you lose two important players that, although they were starting that game, they could be important subs off the bench in future games.
Yeah. And to your point about the stats, I mean, it is interesting because Miami did lead pretty much everything. I mean, you got 14-9 shots, 6-5 on target. You had almost 60% possession still. Which is, I mean, that's a testament to the guys that you got out there, right? Like you should have those kind of stats when you have Messi and Busquets and the crew, right? From your perspective, what did you think about the amount of stoppage time at the end?
I mean, I thought the first half was absolutely insane when he gave 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought, 5 or 6 would have done it. But once I saw he gave 8 minutes in the first half, I knew. I turned to I went with my entire family. We were 13 there. And I turned to my brother-in-law and I was like, if he doesn't give 10 minutes, I promise you, I'm going to go down to the field and I'm going to hit him myself. Because, and obviously I'm just kidding around. I'm never going to do that. But I mean, he had to give at least 10 minutes because there was just so much in the second half, especially there was like 5 minutes when Freese went down with a supposed head injury and they were doing all the testing. And I thought he was just wasting time. I mean, hopefully he's okay. But I mean, I was expecting at least 10 minutes, especially with that Freese injury.
I feel like y'all kind of went through the roller coaster of emotions, right? Because you start off the game and you think, all right, this is our game, opening day, not a big deal. Then the red card happens, right? I mean, because it was 1-1 by the time the red card happened, I believe. And then, of course, the red card, then the ensuing free kick made it 2-1. And from there, it's like, let's just get out of here with something. And you do. So when it was all said and done, do you feel like, do you feel better about this game, the way that it turned out, that you came out with at least a point? Or do you feel like totally just like you got shafted? It feels like a loss.
No. I mean, I'm happy that they got out with a point. And look, again, playing 10 men against 11 is not an easy task, and they showed that they were up to that task and they were getting the shots on target. Obviously, the Redondo miss in the 88th minute was a heartbreaker. I thought it was going to go in, and it went just wide of the net. You had Ian Frey also with a chance to win it after the Telasco Segovia goal in the second half. So, I mean, I was happy that they got away with a point. Happy that Messi and Suarez, Busquets, and Alba weren't injured. And then I got to partake in the post game festivities to watch all that on Sue, the whole Messi referee drama, and then the grabbing of the neck. Which, I mean, look, anybody who's watched South American soccer knows that that's the normal down there. Like, that's just how things go. So you got to just let it slide.
Well, and now y'all don't really have too much time to kind of dwell on that result, because y'all play tomorrow at 8 p.m. in the second leg of your CONCACAF Champions Cup series against Sporting Kansas City. You're up 1-0 on aggregate. How are y'all feeling about, this second game?
I mean, personally, I'm feeling confident. I think the fan base is feeling confident. Obviously, when you have the players that Tyler mentioned, I mean, you have to go into every single game feeling that confidence. And really remember that Telasco came in the second half. Tadeo Allende also didn't play that game. And then you were forced a substitution for David Ruiz when Toto Aviles got that red card. So a lot of things happened during that game that one Macherano didn't get to go through with his entire game plan. And so I think the fact that some of those players got some rest. You also have Maxi Falcon, who could possibly make his Inter Miami debut tomorrow. So a lot of things to be excited about. I think overall, me as a fan, as a person who follows the team, I'm confident. I think it's going to be 2-0 or 3-1. I think Inter Miami will win by 2. Hopefully, they just have to watch out with the defensive blunders. That's been their issue even before Mascherano took over. That was the issue last year, and it continues to be an issue this year. So hopefully, they can figure that out. And if they do, it's going to be a really, really nice road for them in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the changes in the second half against NYC, presumably with an eye toward the Champions Cup match. As far as starting 11, how do you feel that Mascherano kind of handles that?
I think it'll be similar to what you saw in the first leg, which would be most likely Jordi Alba coming back instead of Noah Allen. And then we'll see. It's really much a question mark there as to who starts in the center back pairing. Noah Allen's been doing a fantastic job. The young homegrown from Pembroke Pines. He's I don't know if you guys heard, but he just apparently signed with the Greece Federation to represent them in their youth levels, which is fantastic. So I would be more than happy to see him get the start. If not, I would be happy to see Maxi Falcon get the start finally. I'm very familiar with his play. He's a youth from the Nacional system, played in Colo-Colo, watched many of his games. So I'm really excited about him. And then as far as the rest of the team, I believe Bright is going to be out. So you'll most likely see Redondo and Busquets in the midfield. Again, you'll see Tadeo Allende come back, Messi, Suarez, Telasco. And then, like I said, the right back, it's going to be interesting. Sorry, that's my son here. It's going to be really interesting to see because it's going to be either Lujan or it's going to be Ian Frey. So it's going to be one of those two who starts at right back.
So let me ask you this, and hey, don't be shy. We get VIP guests on here all the time. Baby girl comes in here and tries to dive in on the regular. So you touched on it quite a bit, but Dallin asked, and shout out Dallin, our newest Patreon member. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But just overall, I mean, and you're only a couple of games in considering Champions Cup, but like, do you feel like the defense is at least better situated this year?
Absolutely.
As a whole?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt just because of the depth that they brought in at the center back position. Obviously, if you can go back to the last year and even the early days, you had guys like Figal, LGP, who were MLS veterans, just didn't do a great job for Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Then last year you had Christoph starting off the year, he gets hurt. You had Freire coming in, he gets hurt. Then you have to get David Martinez, who then he got hurt as well. So it almost seems like Inter Miami center back position is really just it sucks to be a center back. You're almost destined to get hurt if you play center back for Inter Miami. But they've done a good job in bringing in Maxi Falcon and Gonzalo and Lujan. So overall, I think they've set up themselves better this season than they have in seasons past.
And real quick, I want to ask you about Julian Gressel. Sounds like sort of the odd man out in this situation. Of course, Atlanta fans are very familiar with them. Where do you see things headed with him?
So the last that I heard, I know that there was an offer from apparently a Brazilian team, as well as there's a lot of interest from the Philadelphia Union. Personally, I think he's a great sub. He's a really good veteran player. I don't know what it's like to be in the locker room with the boys and Julian. So I don't know if that's an issue or not. I don't know if the podcasting thing is an issue or not. But really, at the end of the day, I would hate to see Julian Gressel leave just because I think he offers a great presence, off the bench and that veteran leadership. There's a reason why they would give him the captain ban every time Messi would come off in preseason. So I would understand why they do it, though. It's most likely for cap reasons because I believe he takes up a big cap number. So it would make complete sense if they would get an international spot or some GAM back so that they can use it on maybe another big player that's going to come in a few months.
All right. So what time are you y'all have battered herons tonight, right? What time?
We have Battered Herons at 9 o'clock, and then we're doing Las Garzas at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So we have back-to-back shows. Yep.
So you were a busy man. We will let you run, but really quick, just tell everybody. Kind of already touched on it, but tell everybody where to find you.
You can find me, personally at Danny Solana 5, DANI Solana 5 on all my social media accounts, and also at Battered Herons, and also on Garzas CF, the Spanish version of Battered Herons. So at all those places you can find me. Always willing to chat. So shoot me a word on X, and we can chat about football.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Appreciate you coming on, man. It's always a good time. And give
tomorrow,
Chris and Danny and the crew a hard time for us.
All right. My son took my headphones away. I have no idea what he said.
You're good.
Go for it one more time.
No, I was saying give Chris and Danny and the guys a hard time for us.
Oh, I will. I will. No. I'm definitely gonna talk about Latte on the podcast. I'll talk him up though. I gotta apologize. Yeah. He had a great game yesterday. So from me, I apologize to the Atlanta fan base.
That's all good. We accept it. We appreciate it. See you, buddy.
Okay. Cheers.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. And y'all know the Battered crew, the Battered Network, good friends of ours. So y'all go give them a shout, give them a follow. And while you're at it, also make sure you are subscribed to us, and also make sure you like these shows on YouTube. Hit I can't tell you how much I hate saying these words because I feel
smash that subscribe button.
Thank you, child, for doing it for me. Yes,
but
please
that's the Gen Z representation in it for us.
Hit that little bell.
But yes, please subscribe. It does help us out for real. We appreciate it.
Yeah. At the time of this broadcast, we're at 1358 subscribers. So definitely, if you're watching us and haven't subscribed, do that. If you're listening after the fact and you haven't subscribed, definitely do that. But as Tyler said, please like us. It does help us. It does help us as we try to, kind of grow our brand. At the risk of sounding self-indulgent, kind of grow our brand, try to get ourselves out there. YouTube really rewards, channels, just to be blunt, who have a lot of likes, have a lot of engagement. So you can definitely do your part in helping us out in that by liking our content and sharing our content as much as you can, and of course subscribing. So we really appreciate it in advance. And
also, quick shout out, thank you to everybody that and this is mostly for the Atlanta fans watching, but for coming out saying hey, coming to the Signia, coming out to the tailgate and saying hey to us, and if you ran into us saying hey, just like we appreciate it. It's just really cool to be able to see everybody, hang out with everybody, talk with everybody in person, because the internet is a weird place, and it's always nice to be able to meet you guys in real life. Yeah, just a little bit of a weird place. You know what else is weird? Columbus Crew without Cucho.
Oh, it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
It is weird.
But what's not weird is the Crew winning, which they did over Chicago, which is not weird. Chicago losing 4-2.
You know what is weird, though?
Fire fans. For that. What's that, Henry?
You know what is weird? Nancy talking about ex-wives and ex-girlfriends and weird quotes.
Do you want to read the quote?
Yeah. So apparently this was a quote he had post game. I guess he was asked about like Cucho not being there, and he was like, quote, "Do you talk about your ex-wife all the time or your ex-girlfriend all the time? It's done. So let's move forward." So can we move forward? Again, this is something that they did well. All the players, I'm happy. Simple as that. I have nothing to prove. This is the team. Man, Wilfred Nancy, a stellar coach, but also just an amazing relationship counselor, I guess.
Does he have experience in that or anything?
Jack of all trades.
I guess
somebody who brought up their ex all the time.
Between him and Ronnie Dyla, I'm not sure he's going to give us the best coach quotes of this season.
No, but going back to the match, you look at Chicago and definitely some promise on the part of Chicago. Of course, the Fire debuting their new signing, Jonathan Bamba, of Ivory Coast International. Of course, you have Brian Gutierrez, one of the top young players in MLS, and they look to have given a decent account of themselves, at least to start. Gutierrez banging a brace in his debut, and Bomba with 2 assists in his, well, not Gutierrez's debut, of course, but Bomba in his debut, sorry. A pair of assists, and it's 2-2, and you're feeling good about yourselves. Actually, 2-1, you're feeling good about yourselves, and then Carlos Terán gives him the no goal, and then Rossi scores twice in stoppage time in the first half, and then inside of 5 minutes of the second half, and Columbus really off and running at that point. But this is a needed win for them. They needed to show that, hey, we can win without Guto Hernandez. And they showed that obviously Chicago, one of the minnows in MLS, and really a team hoping to get back on the right side of things under Greg Berhalter. But I feel Columbus had a lot to gain from this victory, and they won. They won without Cucho. Now, can they continue on as the season progresses, as you really start to feel the loss of Cucho, the loss to some extent of Christian Ramirez? Not a huge loss, but still a glue guy in that attack. As you start to really feel that, how do things go? How will they progress? But you're off to, at least to a good start. The Crew are.
I feel about this match similarly to how I feel about the Atlanta match from the weekend versus Montreal. And what I mean by that is Columbus still should have done, and I know this is going to be like a hot take, they still should have done better. I know they had 4 goals, but to Dallin's point in the chat, some of that was very, very easy. It was given. I don't think they did enough, though, to just prove a point, because one, it was Chicago, but Chicago admittedly gave them a little bit of a run, especially early on. Now, the better team won. Columbus, better team won. Absolutely. Not trying to deny that, not trying to say anything against it, but
Sure.
It's Chicago. It is Chicago. So I just they didn't go out and curb stomp them statistically, and I don't think the 4-2 scoreline tells the whole story.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you like to think, though, that Chicago is improved over last season, right?
I mean, I think they have, and you go to lower.com field, which is always a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And, in the first 20 minutes, it's tied, and then Chicago actually goes ahead for a few minutes, and then the wheels came off, and then things fell apart. But that should, if you're a Chicago fan, it should give you a glimmer of hope, right? You had something going that was working. Now, both of these teams are very different than they were last year, and that's totally fair, totally fine. But I'm more curious about match day 2 for both of these teams than I am about this one.
What do you think, Henry? Just real quick.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that game goes, it feels like a very Chicago way to lose the game. But look, the offense is starting to come together. You're seeing your new signing start to do some stuff. Jonathan Bomba is already showing that he can be very, very good for this team. If we look at the other side, Columbus, I was not expecting them to score 4 goals because of the losses that they had. But that raises the question, Diego Rossi comes in and scores a clutch 2 goals that win the game. So it's like, okay, how much can Diego Rossi offset the loss of Cucho Hernandez? Because he very clearly has quality, and I think at this point now he is the guy for Columbus right now.
And I second guess myself,
more or less,
until they find a replacement, if they can find a replacement in this window. So the question is how long he can keep that going. And remember, Columbus is also in CONCACAF Champions Cup. They enter in the round of 16 after having won Leagues Cup last year. So we're going to see how that evolves. I still have not seen any Columbus striker rumors. I would expect that they try to look for one in this window, but who knows? But yeah, I'm surprised that they got that result. But credit to them for getting it done.
And then Tyler, you mentioned match day 2 for both sides. So Columbus, they travel to New England, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, that should be a win for the Crew. Chicago hosts DC. I mean, that one could go either way, really. So you don't really learn a whole lot about these two teams, I think, arguably in match day 2. But again, as the season continues, things progress. We'll have to see. We mentioned Champions Cup. We'll have to see how the Crew handle that. Chicago under Berhalter. Does Bamba keep it going? Does Gutierrez keep it going? They have some additions, subtractions. What does it look like under year 1 with Berhalter? So those are questions that both teams will need to answer as the season progresses. And by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, you see Tyler and Henry kind of chuckling. So we have a private chat that we have here on our streaming platform. We're kind of just going
No,
back and
it
forth.
wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Oh, you're
I'm
laughing at
laughing
something
because
else?
you talked about match day 2
Yeah.
and the matchup. You said Chicago versus DC United, and the first thing I thought of was Snoop
What?
Dogg when he called the boxing match, and he was like, "This is like watching my 2 uncles fight at the barbecue." I feel like that's exactly how this game is going to play out. It's going to be such a cluster. It's going to be so bad. So I'm sorry to any DC or Chicago fans, but that's going to be like
Please
Jerry
like and
Springer
subscribe if you're
entertainment.
a DC Chicago fan.
My
We
bad.
definitely
Yeah.
support you as well.
Yes, we do.
So speaking of, let's move up. Let's stay in the West. Let's stay in the West, or let's actually move to the West.
Let's shake things up.
Let's shake things up. Well done. Well done. San Diego Earthquakes 4-0 over RSL and Bruce Arena's debut with the Quakes. And what does that say about either team? Is this what we're to expect for San Diego? I mean, San Jose. Well, San Diego, should we expect more from them as the season goes on? But San Jose, you're going to have to have a better start for the Quakes under Bruce Arena. They put in 4 goals against an RSL team that's had a lot of attrition in their ranks. The biggest, of course, is Chicharito, who now plays for San Jose under Bruce Arena. And of course, that was the main storyline going into that match. What does Arango do against his former team? And as a whole, the team really dominated RSL. Arango in that match did not score, but he did have 3 shots, so he was involved to some extent. He played 87 minutes. I'm sure he would have liked to score against his former team. Would have been interested to see what the celebration would have been if he had scored. But as it turns out, they didn't need him. They ended up putting, again, 4 past RSL in that match. And the big question is, of course, what will they do under Bruce Arena? So they're off to a good start. Guys, it was such a blowout. Rodriguez, their defender, scored. And I don't have it in front of me. I don't think he scored a lot. Well, that's, I think, what, his 3rd goal as a member of the Quakes, like his 6th or 7th goal professionally at any level. So that when he's scoring, when if your defender's scoring, center backs are scoring, that's when you know you're living right. So
I thought
good on the Quakes for winning.
Yeah, it's a good first first test for this whole new Crew, right? But I think this was the definition of a game that actually was in the beginning. It was kind of tit for tat. There was a little bit of back and forth, and of course, San Jose got the early goal in the 28th minute, but that opened it up and really allowed them to do what they needed to do to start finishing opportunities, because Salt Lake had to start playing the game. Salt Lake does not have a finisher anymore. Salt Lake's, that version that they had last year was great. It is no more. And they are going to struggle if they are the team that consistently has to fight their way out of a hole. You had the first goal by San Jose in this one in the 28th minute, and then the last 3 came the 70th minute, 74th minute, and 83rd minute. And that right there, I mean, if you watch the game, you saw it, but this was a game where Salt Lake had the possession, believe it or not.
Mm.
And San Jose was just much more clinical and was able to hit on the counter, hit on the opportunities that they had. Salt Lake had 22 shots, believe it or not. I feel like I'm talking about 2023 Atlanta United here, but 22 shots, 7 on goal.
target.
They had 63% possession. They had almost double the amount of passes as the Quakes.
Luna
so,
had
I mean,
5 shots for Salt Lake, neither of them on target. So
Yeah.
really a tough day for him.
Yeah, and it's just the numbers are so skewed in this one. It's just it again, it's not. Y'all know me. If y'all talk to me like or listen to the show for any amount of time, like I always preach, like you have the stats and you have the eye test. This one to me, the stats and the eye test kind of even it out. Like they kind of meet up the way that they probably should. You can look at the way that the lineup went and the stats go, and kind of tell a story, and that story would pretty much match what you saw when you watched the game.
And then real quick, just on this match, Cristiano Espinosa had a pair of assists in that one for San Jose, had 14 last year. Of course, he's going to be another one of the players that can really help things in the attack for San Jose as he looks to combine, with that attack. That includes Joseph Martinez. Joseph Martinez did not play. Well, actually, no, he did play that match, 67 minutes, 2 shots on goal. So he didn't score, but as he continues to build chemistry with that attack, I'm sure he'll be very heavily involved. As far as the other goals, Ricketts scoring, Costa scoring, and Buda scoring as well for San Jose. But what a start for the Quakes. And now can you carry that on? Again, can't think of a better way to start the Bruce Arena era as he looked to shake things up, as Henry said. By the way, that's very good on your part, Henry. To really get back among the top teams in MLS. They play away to Sporting Kansas City on Saturday. So, again, don't know how much you can learn about San Jose out of that match since the Sporting Kansas City has struggled over the past few years, but off to a good start at least.
And their next match is not easy. Playing Seattle. That's going to be, they go from the frying pan into the fire, as they say.
RSL plays Seattle, right?
Yes. RSL.
Okay.
But before that, they play Herediano in their second leg of their CONCACAF Champions Cup tie. They are currently 0-0 in the overall. So RSL also has, very quick turnaround and a lot of matches to start off. By the way, I wanted to mention real quick, Tyler Wolff started for RSL in that game this weekend.
Yeah, for Atlanta United, man.
Yeah, so just a shout out to him. Now that we kind of dove into, CONCACAF Champions Cup, should we talk a little bit about that competition, some of the MLS teams that are in there? Obviously,
take it away.
We have a few matches, second legs of the first round. We already mentioned Real Salt Lake Herediano. That is Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow, we mentioned earlier, Inter Miami SKC, 8 p.m. That one is 1-0 to Inter Miami right now. LAFC Colorado face off tomorrow, 10 p.m. The aggregate score 2-1 in Colorado's favor. Then Wednesday, you have Cincinnati against Motagua.
That's over.
That one is pretty much, set in stone. Cincinnati are carrying that series 4-1 right now. It would take something, catastrophic for Cincinnati to lose that. Then Wednesday at 10:30 p.m., you also have Seattle Sounders against Antigua GFC.
That's over.
Seattle leading the aggregate there 3-1. And then finally on Thursday, you have at 10 p.m. Vancouver Whitecaps against Deportivo Saprissa. Vancouver currently down 1-2 in that tie, but they will be playing at BC Place. And remember, the away goals rule is in effect, so that will definitely shake some things up. What do you guys think is going to happen now?
Feel like the Quakes can turn that aggregate scoreline around. Certainly, I mean, like I said, they're playing at BC Place. It's always tough to go down to South America and these matches. Certainly to go down to Costa Rica, these Costa Rican sides have traditionally given MLS sides headaches. I remember when I think it was Atlanta United played Herediana and really just got played off the pitch in Costa Rica. Came back home to Kennesaw and dominated and essentially, eased into the second round on the straight with that second leg. I think that'll be the safe for Vancouver against Saprissa. Yeah, as we said, Seattle's safe, Cincy's safe. Miami, I think they beat Sporting Kansas City. Colorado, I don't know if they can close it out against LAFC. It's always tough to play at BMO Stadium. Can you get the same performance from Zach Steffen as he had against St. Louis? He scored or he saved 5 goals or 5 shots against St. Louis. Really managing that performance for him in a goalless draw. So can he sort of bring that over to this Champions Cup match against LAFC in a tough place to play in BMO Stadium? LAFC, of course, coming off a 1-0 win in their season opener on Saturday. So that's how I kind of see things shaking up. Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not to not give you much analysis here, but I mean, I kind of think that's how it plays out because Miami, I would be shocked if they don't squeak it out. That is kind of Messi and his friends. That's their bread and butter, that type of competition.
Yeah.
I am intrigued by Colorado and LFC, though. I really am, because I do think Colorado set themselves up pretty well. And I think that they go in there with the right mentality. And I've said it, LAFC to me is not them this year yet. We've had one game. Well, 2 if you include Champions Cup. But they're just I don't feel like they have the identity that they've had before in the past. So I think Colorado might be able to squeak one out there. That one I'm really, really intrigued about. But besides that, I always enjoy the rare moment that we get to watch, Saprissa or Herediano or one of these teams that you just typically don't get to watch here. So I think those are going to be fun. And to your point, that home field advantage, especially in a competition like Champions League, Champions Cup, that is a real thing. And going down to South America is wild. Going down to South America is wild.
Yeah.
Central. You don't quite get to
Central
go to
America.
My apologies.
Really yelled at in the chat.
I know.
Costa Rica is in Central America. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
You see, you got me.
In a different confederation too. So.
I know. God, look at that.
That's my fault.
I need another beer.
Let's stay in CONCACAF for now.
I do know geography, but
on the ball.
You get the point. No, but going down there, I think it's an opportunity, one, to grow the game here, because you have, I know these aren't on Apple TV, but there's so much talk about them. You have MLSsoccer.com pushing the matches and having articles about the matches and stuff too. So I think it's a good opportunity to go out and show a new fan base, like, oh, look, there is this competition, if you don't know about it, where, your team, your hometown team could have the chance to play against one of these Central American teams, one of these potentially Caribbean teams. So yeah, I don't know. It's always intriguing to me. I love when Atlanta was in it a few years ago, but as far as the match to watch, that's going to be, I think, the most competitive. I think it's going to be Colorado and LAFC.
Interesting. So that's Champions Cup, of course, happening this week as well. Do we want to talk about?
Sorry to everybody that lives in Central America.
No, I said South America as well, so I'll own that myself.
Shame.
Yeah, I know. Do we want to talk about team of the match day? I feel a lot of debutantes on this team of the match day. Latte debutant. Ceballos, the new signing in defense for the Revs. He landed on the team of the match week. Where is he now? The new signing for DC United. He lands on it. Andres Dreyer, ultimately the player of the match day. His 2-goal performance against San Diego or against LA, well deserved on his part. Zach Steffen 5 saves against St. Louis. We already talked about him. Rodriguez scoring against the Quakes, scoring against RSL, leading a strong defensive effort in the shutout, in the clean sheet. He lands on there. Miles Robinson lands on there after Nashville and Cincinnati played to a goalless draw. Ryan Gutierrez, of course, his 2 goals for Chicago. Jaden Nelson, his 3 assists. And, of course, Diego Rossi, and, of course, Lionel Messi on there. So several debutantes, like I said, on that list. And coach of the match day, Mikey Varas, well-deserved again for him, as he, again, leads San Diego to an inaugural win. One player that we want to mention as well, Marko Pasalic, we mentioned him earlier. He landed on the subs for the team of the match day, and Kevin Dengue as well. So that's your team of the match day in a nutshell. Obviously, no big surprises. And again, Dreyer winning player of the match day in MLS. You had a lot of choices, I feel like, guys, for team of the match day. You had a lot of strong individual performances, certainly in the attack, but certainly in defense as well. So no complaints, though, as far as who lands on it for match day 1.
I gotta say something. I'm sorry.
What you got?
And I know Solana was just on here with us, but Messi should have been on the bench. You have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players that all scored goals that made it onto the starting 11 for this team in the match day. And I get Messi had, I think, 2 assists, right?
Yeah, pair of assists.
Meanwhile, you've got Kevin Dinky, who scored a goal, right? The other record-breaking transfer in the offseason. Didn't make it. I mean, made it to the bench. That one kind of irritates me. And I know San Diego was going to get a bump, and I know Messi's going to get a bump on these standings. I get that. But I disagree. I disagree.
You don't like
really
it?
Do.
You don't like Messi being on there?
It's not that I've got a problem with Messi being on there, but I don't think take away who he is. Take away the fact that he's Lionel Messi.
Right.
2 assists is great. 2 assists gets you into the conversation for team of the match day, for sure.
I mean, if anybody, why not Pasalic? Why not Baribo?
Didn't Ty Baribo get a brace? Like,
Baribo, yeah.
You have several options that
Pasalic with a brace
scored
too.
a brace.
Jordan Morris with a brace.
Absolutely snubbed. And it irks me. Like the top row, if you've seen the graphic, we might be able to put it up. But if you've seen the graphic, the top, you have Dreyer, Latte Lath, Diego Rossi, and Lionel Messi. Guess who the one person up there in the top is that didn't score a goal on match day 1?
Right.
His name is Lionel Messi. Guess how many did score goals that are on the bench? It irks me. It irks me, man. That's my rant about the team of the match day. Henry, what do you got?
No, I mean I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, I understand the whole Messi didn't score. His 2 assists were clutch, but there's probably, you could argue that there were some that kind of deserve to be there over him. But he's Messi. He's always going to make it if he is handed it. Just a quick thing.
Player doesn't have his own drink.
46 goals scored in this match week, match day. That's a record for MLS. So plenty of options, plenty of excitement. The bar is being raised more and more every season, and you love to see that. We talked about a lot of these players already. We spotlighted a lot of them, so I don't really have much to add. Should we move to our key matches to watch for match day 2?
We're about to, I want to hit on Colonel's comment real quick. He said, and he's not wrong here, maybe. I think we'll see how this plays out going forward. He said the formula for the team of the match day is to win the Sunday night match.
There you go.
Hey, it's relevant. It's relevant at that point. So, I mean, kind of curious to see kind of how
that's 2 of them, at least.
Yeah.
Well, and Mikey Varas, I guess.
What's that?
By the way, Houston, Miami, Sunday night.
Yep.
That Sunday night match. So that should be fun.
That'd be it'd be a good neutral match for sure. Like, I think there's something about Houston that I know I said it last week, haven't impressed me, but there's a lot of things that I didn't get right about match day 1. So.
Well, what about match day 2 though? What's your
day
match of the week for match day 2, Tyler?
You can't say Atlanta, Charlotte.
No, we try to stay away, and because I saw the comment earlier, Ricky saying I feel like without bias, Atlanta Charlotte has to be the match of the week, and I think you're right, because it's a
definitely
neutral standpoint. From a neutral standpoint, this is really good match, intriguing.
That's very up there. You're gonna have the Miggy, content. Charlotte wanting to go after Miggy, didn't. Miggy comes back to Atlanta. That's part of it, but both have, brand new, very strong wingers and signings. And of course, it's a derby. So, yes. Also, both teams have only won when playing against each other over the past 2 years away. So,
well, Atlanta beat Charlotte at Mercedes-Benz. So, but Atlanta.
Well, I'm talking the past 2 seasons.
But not the past 2 seasons.
Past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Past 2 seasons. Okay.
Yeah, past 2 seasons, it's been like
the record is even between the two.
Yeah,
because it's always been like one wins one match, and then the other wins the other match.
But no, my non-Atlanta pick is Orlando versus Toronto, and the reason being, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but Toronto, by many people, has been pegged as a possible wooden spoon contender. And now I know we're talking about DC as well, but they did play DC to a 2-2 draw. So they did have some goals in them. Orlando is coming off of a really, really tough performance. And I think a lot of people had them pegged as a pretty decent contender this year. So I'm kind of curious to see now which one of them is going to come back to maybe where they, or at least where most people think they should be. Can Orlando just shake off whatever magic Philly put on them? Or is Toronto going to be better than maybe people expected? So that one's kind of my match of the week, and especially in the Eastern Conference besides Atlanta, the one I'm most intrigued by.
I'll go with LAFC versus NYCFC. I think they'll low-key be a really good matchup. LAFC, of course, will be coming in off short rest. They should still be one of the favorites in the West, even though they've kind of not been the attacking-minded team that they've been in previous seasons or in past seasons. I think they still have some things to figure out there at that point. But I think BMO Stadium, there's very few places in MLS that are as good as BMO Stadium as far as match day experience is concerned. So I'm sure the fans there will be ready. This will be 3 matches in a row at BMO Stadium, counting Champions Cup. So the fans will be ready for that as well. NYCFC maybe feel a little bit disappointed, a lot disappointed after having to settle for a point after being up and man for a lot of that match against Miami. So they'll be looking to get that first win under Pascal Janssen on the road. So I'll be pretty intrigued to see how that match goes between LAFC and NYCFC. That'll be a late match on Eastern Time, 10:30 Eastern Time, kickoff, I believe, on Saturday. But that's what I got, Henry. What's yours?
For me, I want to see more of the new guys. I want more San Diego. I want more of the soccer that they're playing. That's going to be their home openers, their next game. It's going to be March 1st. That's Saturday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. They are playing St. Louis City. Those are the 2 newest clubs in MLS. And, I want to see if San Diego can continue the start that it, has right now. You already beat the reigning champs. Can you keep it going? How long can you keep it going? Can you have a start like St. Louis did back in 2023, where they won their first 5 games and shocked a lot of people? Let's see some more of that. I want to see more Chucky. I want to see more of their kind of play style develop. I think that's, to me, is the most attractive, just because of who these 2 clubs are, and I like that game for a lot of reasons.
No, I agree. That'll be pretty intriguing. That's what Orlando, Toronto. Maybe not as intriguing, but yeah.
I think Orlando.
The chat. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think my pick. It's one of those that has the potential to be either very boring and you learn a lot about both teams, or an absolute shootout that turns really, really stupid MLS after dark. So maybe entertaining either way. We'll see.
Real quick, Ricky in the chat said San Diego, St. Louis is his match to watch as well. But yeah, Henry kind of hit on it. Definitely a lot of intrigue in that one. Of course, San Diego, again, the new boys looking to, like you're saying, replicate what St. Louis did a few years ago in their first year. So I think that's it, guys.
That is it. Y'all, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please go subscribe and go hit the like button because it does help us a lot. We appreciate it. Go to scarvesandspikes.com, get all your Atlanta United news. We are adding a lot of other content as we go as well. So it's not just Atlanta United. We'll be doing a lot more. Yes, Ricky, it will be a successful hate watch. Doing a lot more, obviously, overall MLS content. The twos are going to be starting up in a couple of weeks as well. And U.S. soccer stuff as well. So visit the website. And if you're not a Patreon backer and you would like to be, we super appreciate it. We have an amazing Discord. We have lots of benefits, lots of things. We're going to be changing some stuff around, adding some stuff here coming soon. But if you're not, go to patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Join up, hop in there with us, and we have a good time. It's really fun. So
this was fun.
This was fun.
Let's do it again next week. Well, let's do it again Wednesday with our Atlanta United podcast.
That's right.
As we look forward to the derby against Charlotte FC.
Bruno said, do we have a name for it yet? I still like the Crown of Coke Derby.
Yeah, I know you're fond of the Crown of Coke Derby.
Yeah.
Hopefully, at some point, there will be a name for it. But yeah, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday, of course, covering it for scarvesandspikes.com. I'll be there in Charlotte. I'm seeing, giving you coverage. But yeah, looking forward to that and looking forward to speaking with you all again on Wednesday.
Yes, indeed. Jason, good to meet you as well. And to everybody that we got to meet and talk to. It was awesome. We'll be doing it a lot more this year too. So we truly, truly appreciate it. But always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
See y'all.
See you guys.
For your support and for watching and listening. Smash that like on YouTube.
Smash it. So I have a quick question. How many times in this podcast do you think we said the word right?
I'll have to go back and check the tape.
I'm not trying to give Tommy a complex. I'm really not. But
do we need a right counter for Wednesday's episode?
Really funny story. My oldest son was listening to the show, and he has already started programming a counter to catch every time the word right is used in our show and link it up to a tally they can show on the screen.
Yes, this is what we need.
Let's pump the brakes because we don't want to make Tommy have like a real severe complex.
Right.
But let's still do it.
Do it.
I like where his headset though.
Attitude. He's in the right place. Where we need to be. A little bit of trolling going on.
Right?
Shot. I cut